In this video, I want to show you how to take off or to put on a license plate on any vehicle. And I'll show you how to do it on the back, the rear, and also I'll show you how to do it on the front. And it doesn't matter how old or new your vehicle is, it's basically the same premise. As you can see there, we're in Virginia, so I will have to do that on the front. So currently in the United States, there's 17 states that will, you only have to have a license plate on the back, like Texas, Florida, and the Carolinas, for example. You only have to have it on the back. Basically, locate the screws here, and sometimes there'll be two down here. This particular make vehicle does not have that input there, so the previous owner just put it up here on the top. If you do have like a plastic case or a plaque that you have it in, that's pretty self-explanatory. It'll usually pop off from the sides, or you might have to pop it off here, but it'll be basically like a bezel, like a frame that will pop off. And then you'll usually find that they're still screwed in to the license plate. All right, so with this particular one, you could use a Phillips or a flathead screwdriver. So for example, this is a flathead, and it's self-explanatory because it's flat on both ends. All right, a Phillips looks like this, and you'll see there it's in the shape of an X. So just think Phillips X, all right? And with these particular two, I could use a Phillips or a flat. If you do not have a Phillips or a flat, you can actually just use a butter knife. And a butter knife will work pretty much the same way. And when you turn the screw, and I already got these pre-turned, the only thing that you have to do is put it in there, and what you're going to do is you're going to go counterclockwise to your left. So just think lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. If I'm going to tighten it up, I go clockwise to the right. And in general, the majority of the screws in the world are lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Now, you might be asking, well, I don't have a Phillips or a screw in my car, and I don't have a flathead, and it looks like a pentagon, like a solid piece. Well, that's called a hex screw. Pliers, basically, to turn it. And so if you have a hex screw, that's what you're going to do, and you would turn it like this. Same way. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, right? So let's go ahead and unscrew this one. And this car is a Virginia, so that means that it'll have a license plate on the front and the back. Extra bureaucracy, right? And so that's pretty much it. And then you're going to come across, let's say you buy a brand new car from the dealership, and then you come across this, the same thing. Basically go to your local Ace or Home Depot or Lowe's and get two regular screws that look like this. Go to Home Depot and say, hey, I need screws for my license plate. And so the same concept, you would basically set it here, and then you would screw it back in. To screw it back in, I'd recommend doing it by hand, like that, at first. All right. And then you could see this screw, you could use both a Phillips or a flat. So I could use a Phillips or a flat. And remember, I'm tightening it now, I'm putting this on, so righty-tighty. And by the way, don't beat yourself up if you feel stupid, me doing this. I remember being like a freshman in high school, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I actually took it to a mechanic because I'd got a new license plate for my car, and then I actually paid a mechanic to do it. They charged me like 15 bucks. And then of course, the next year I'm thinking, my goodness, that was stupid. But you know what? There's a first time for everything. Don't beat yourself up. You might be a college student, and you just got your first vehicle, and that's, don't beat yourself up. And now you want to save some money by watching this video. All right, if for whatever reason you have a hard time getting this screw off, what I'd recommend is you can coat the screw, preferably in white vinegar. If you don't have white vinegar, you can use apple cider vinegar. And then you can get either, if you have a brush, that's better, or a cloth, and then just soak your brush with vinegar or apple cider vinegar, and just go around and try to get the vinegar in between the screw and then wait an hour and then see if it'll come off. It's going to take some elbow grease. You're not going to break anything. If you have some WD-40, that's even better. But just some elbow grease will help you. Now, you're asking about the front of a vehicle. Well, 9 times out of 10, it'll apply the exact same thing in the front as the back. However, there are some vehicles, and let's say you moved from one of these one state Plaques license plates like Texas to California, and they require one in the front, but you're like, wait a second, they don't have this option in the front. Well, they do. So a lot of the newer vehicles, and we're at the front of a Nissan Altima, a lot of the newer vehicles do not have the traditional screw-in mount in the front, made in the last 10 to 20 years. So what you're going to have to put here instead is a bracket, and the car, when it was bought new, should have come with a bracket, and the bracket will basically screw into these little pinholes here. You can see one here that's already prefabricated there, and one that's here. And basically the bracket goes in, and then the license plate will be screwed in onto the bracket. And so look in your trunk of your vehicle. The previous owner may have hidden it where the spare tire is, and you know, it's basically a little big plastic piece. If you cannot find one in your trunk or around your home, you can order one on Amazon. Just type in your model vehicle and put, you know, front license plate bracket of your vehicle, and then get that, and then you should be good to go. You'll just need you might need to get a little power tool to screw in here into these holes initially. Probably an electric screwdriver, because there's already screw inputs here. And then you want to install it and then put your plate on it. And just as a side note, a little bit of word of caution: if you're putting a license plate onto a vehicle that it's not registered to, so for example, if I were to put this Nissan Altima's license plate onto a Chevy, and that's not the one that it's registered to, keep in mind in pretty much all 50 states that's considered a felony. You would be better to drive it to a new location, or if you, basically, let's say if you're a small dealer and you're skipping registration, the deed for example, and you're sending it to a new location or vice versa, and you're like, I don't want a cop to stop me because I don't have a license plate, you'd be better to go bare without a license plate and get caught that way than with a fake license plate, because that's usually considered a felony. If you got one without a tag, just explain it to them, and worst case scenario, you would just get like a little fine. But I know people watching this video is not doing it for nefarious reasons, but I just wanted to bring word of caution not to do that. All right, thanks for watching.